This is the origin of the Rex 84. The United States of America King Alfred Plan was originally written about in the 60s, I think, in a novel. And it was called the King Alfred Plan in the novel when the Iran-Contra was being implemented by the Bushes. Excuse me, y'all, I'm crunching. All right. They came out with Rex 84. The 84 ties to the George Orwell Big Brother is Watching 1984. Rex means readiness exercise. 84 is the code number. It said there are 600 prison camps in the United States, all fully operational and ready to receive prisoners. They are all staffed and even surrounded by full-time guards, but they are all empty. These camps are to be operated by FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency. Should martial law need to be implemented in the United States, the current foreseeable event, which will see the implementation of the use of these camps, is the coming of the New World Order led by the shadow government, right? That's the Bush plot, the Garden plot, right? Because George Herbert Walker Bush was the leader of the shadow government over here. All right, let's go to the next one. Salute to Reverend Ray Haggins, because he don't be playing. Readiness Exercise 1984 is a plan by the United States federal government to test FEMA's ability to assume military authority. The objective is to detain large numbers of American citizens in case of civil unrest or national emergency or a false flag operation. Y'all can't forget false flag.
Keyword.
False flag don't mean false. It just means it was done in order to control a narrative. All right, now let's pull up the next one, because the next one is going to tell us what Operation Cable Splicer is. Operation Cable Slicer is a sub-program of the Rex 84 program, which establishes on the reasoning that if a mass exodus of illegal aliens cross the Mexican-U.S. border, they will be quickly rounded up and detained in detention centers by FEMA. Rex 84 allowed many military bases to be closed down and to be turned into prisons. Now, you notice they're saying Mexican-U.S. border. Right? Operation Cable Splicer is a program for an orderly takeover of the state and local governments by the federal government. FEMA is the executive arm of the coming police state and thus will head up all operations. The presidential executive orders already listed on the Federal Registry also are a part of the legal framework for this operation.
Man, it's crazy, bro.
Am I making this shit up, Elder?
Nah, you know, I already been doing a little bit of research on it too, because Tasha and Rick Bay talk about the same thing.
Do I know what I'm talking about, or am I just guessing?
Yeah, you own it. Now, but now I'm putting it together with this is part of if we decide to wake up and say, hey man, you know, this is our land and we want to get you off. See, we ain't like that though, you know what I'm saying? But that's what they're scared of. They're scared of it's a fear of if these niggas wake up and they can really just take over and it'll be over with. It's just pretty much be over. It'll be the end if they decide to wake up and, you know, say who they are.
Okay, now pay attention to the lay of the land, right? I'm sure you point out some stuff. Look at where Mexico at in the parts that's been annexed by the United States. We talking Texas, we talking Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona, California. It's one missing. But anyway,
I'll put the picture for you. We got it in the last class. It's right here. I got all of it organized now. It's the last 6. No, not 6. It's Man, how to get real? Okay, this right here might be right here. Right here. This is a picture right here, so I can give you more of a
So this is the part of America that you see the arrows coming across is the part that we annexed. That's all of them states that I was naming. Now, will you see right where you at, just to the right, where the Mississippi River running up?
Right here.
Right. That was the natural borderline to Florida on the in the Mississippi Basin. That was all the land of flowers, eastern and western regions, which was broke down into provinces or subsections, however you want to name it in English. It's the best thing I can say in English is a province or a parish.
They specifically went out to this land right here, like on like this land on this side.
Right, because that's the Midwest.
Yeah, the Midwest, this land right here.
Right. And that's what made my big mama conjure me to fuck up, because they fucked with that piece of land.
The Miller right here, this Washington.
Right. Right. That's what my big mama was heir to. My mama told me about it.
Probably like right there. Yeah. Hey, so let me get it all together. Okay. So we stand in this area first. They land over here, start attacking us and our family over here. So we left over here to come over here and fight them off and help everybody fight them off.
Almost, but it's kind of like what you said. But you see the green part under Florida, them islands down there?
Right here.
This is where we get the major distress call to start forming a front in Florida from them.
Okay.
Explaining to our people what happened, right? Giving them the keys to unlock parts of their psyche that'll help them understand the power dynamic, because we the ones that's in the position of true power, but we're not using any of it. So when we understand the mechanics of the connection to the earth in the natural selection process of nature, in determining who's the leaders on the land, that changes the dynamic of power and the understanding of power. We don't understand power and how to use it, because all we got to do is stop supporting the system, and the system comes to us and say, okay, what do y'all want? I've been knowing that since I was 20 years old, and I didn't know shit back then. The power structure, the way that it's set up, as long as we don't use their power, they're going to use ours. As long as we don't tear down their system, they're going to impose their system upon us. So then it boils down to us understanding the dynamics of power, and what we really up against is not what we thought in the first place, right? It's all about education versus miseducation. Those who know they from the land and those who know they didn't come from the land. You had those that came to the land to aid and assist, like the Samoans, Polynesians, and the Hawaiians, which end up getting them invaded as an answer to the problem, right? But we all stood up to the opposition, the enemy, and it wasn't until the Conjure Wars that the planet was saved, basically. The Conjure Wars was able to delay it until we could put somebody in position to understand how to pull rank on those who's holding up the old system. So you got to have the blood and the right pretender to the throne. And when you do that, you have to exercise your power. And you have to tell the people, hey, this is what was done. This is where we did it, right? July the 4th was the end of their system. July the 6th, I dropped the video exercising the indigenous right to reclaim all of the land. Not just some of it, all of it. And on the heels of that, we planted the totem pole in DC, right? Donald Trump closed out the bankruptcy, merged the Federal Reserve with the Treasury in order to absorb the IRS, which was a freelance agency. So all of these agencies get caught up in the bankruptcy. And as long as we continuously did contract with the dead agency, we're not gonna be empowered. We're not using our power, we giving our power away. And as long as we giving our power away, we're gonna be treated like somebody who has no power. This is what it boils down to. And the unification call, the elders is unified. They waiting on the grassroots to know what's going on. So they not caught in a state of shock, not knowing that you the motherfucker in power now.
So when you say the elders are unified and they're just waiting on the grassroots, what is the method? Because I think that we're doing a lot out here. Like you have brothers like yourself, brothers like my mentor and elder, Brother Love. You have brothers like Young Elder. You have various different brothers out here conveying the message, me trying to get them on the language. We have a conglomerate of brothers that's actually out here to the forefront, and we're speaking these things and showing them these things, and they're watching the events pass as like brothers like yourself are relaying the message. So what else is needed? How can we better be effective?
It's just a process of finding cause for unity. We got too many people that don't want. I ain't going over to Big Mama house because my cousin so and so gonna be on it. I can't stand that bitch. We got too much of that. Too much of that shit going on when we in the power struggle. You don't have time to be an enemy with a blood relative. And the one that's keeping it up, the whole family need to hold them accountable. Kill the bullshit. But we ain't got to that part where we understand that our power lies in a strong family bond first. I tell the young chiefs that's coming in now, at least once a week, try to meet somebody in your family you ain't never talked to and make the time to just have a conversation with them. 15 minutes, 30 minutes, hour. Get to meet somebody in your family you never got a chance to talk to before and have a conversation with them. This is how you start building the structure back to family. You start reunifying those family ties. You ain't got to start with nobody that you hostile with out the gate, right? But if you got a righteous grievance, shit, sooner or later, the family gonna have to sort it out. We're not gonna have outsiders in our family business no more. That's done. You got a problem with your cousin, nigga, take that over Big Mama house, let her and Big Papa sort it out for you. They gonna give you the remedy because they've been around this motherfucker long enough to know they was tearing the families apart with bullshit, and we don't know how to get past bullshit to keep the family together. So we indulge the wrong bullshit though. We mad because she don't like the shoes I wore. But we let the pedophile stay in the family with no question asked. We got our priorities all backwards. Stop being mad about the little petty shit. Be mad about the shit that count where everybody can get together, either bump that motherfucker straight or bump him the fuck off.
Yeah, pretty much. Right?
But we know we want to be mad because she wore the same dress I wore. He wore the same Nikes I had on. Man, get the fuck out of here with that petty ass. He wouldn't let me hit his blunt. He unfriended me on Facebook.
Dumb shit. That shit dumb.
Facebook will unfriend your ass and Instagram will unfriend a motherfucker, unfollow a motherfucker from you, and you catching feelings. That means that you really can't think. Oh, I don't fuck with her because she left me on red. What the fuck that mean? She didn't have nothing to say. You're supposed to respond to something you ain't got nothing to say.
That's crazy. Can you explain a little bit about the forces of nature and how we relate to it? For example, like a lot of people want to know because it's been said, it's fact that according to history, we are made up of all things in the universe. But a lot of times people don't know how it relates to them as an individual, and as well as us as a collective. The forces of electricity or magnetism, gravity. Besides the general information, is there any other information that you can give people so that they can become more in tune with the natural forces?
The one thing about the forces of nature, you don't need anybody to tell you they exist to express themselves. Nature is a crude lover who wears her heart on her sleeve.
Okay.
What's natural, you just instinctively know. If you're in tune with nature, the thing that's unnatural will make itself visible to you and stick out like a sore thumb. That's how you know how to clean up what needs cleaning up in the society. Anything that's destructive to nature is destructive to all of us. So the earth is an organism. It's a living organism. But we don't relate to it as a living organism. Earth directly communicate with women through mitochondrial on the psychic channel. And when the women become difficult to deal with, it's because the men are dealing harsh with the earth. Right? So we don't treat the earth with respect, then women start to lose respect for men. This creates famine. This creates a reduced birth rate in a healthy population of people, right? Because the women aren't cohabiting. All of these is side effects of living in tune with nature. They hypersexualize us to keep us breeding, knowing that something is wrong in nature. Keep you hyperly sexed and dumbed down. You can't never put the two things together. When you realize that nature is out of order, then the first thing on the human mind is no longer sex. Is how do we get back in tune with nature? Because what we don't know is when you in tune with nature, sex is a bad motherfucker. But when you ain't, it's just fucking.
Yeah. Yeah. The brother, I think it's the brother Ken Taylor, says is Amun-Re Alexander the Great's pops, which I know the answer to that, but I'm gonna let you answer.
If he's talking about Ra as an Enlil masquerading as the Most High, your Enlil is Alexander's dad.
Right.
Zeus in the Greek pantheon.
And Terry Ambrose, I apologize if I pronounced the last name incorrectly. What's the proper way to pray?
Predatorily.
He said predatory.
Look,
man, you hell, man.
Somebody telling you that you got to pray and offer up supplications to something outside of yourself, they're still in your power. Flat out. They need to be teaching you something called self-talk. The art and science of self-talk. That's your lower self or ego self communicating with your higher self to break free from the traps of the matrix. They don't teach that self-talk to the inner city youth, but why do they teach it to those out in the burbs where all the money at? It's in their curriculum, but it ain't even on our curriculum sheets. That tell you right there something that we need to be knowing.
Self-talk is powerful too. Self-talk is very powerful. I used to give lectures to brothers on spiritual psychology, and that was one of the subject points that I always made sure that I elaborated on, because that shit will make or break you. Your self-talk will make you or break you.
Yeah, because they always teach us to give ourselves negative affirmations by telling us you shouldn't say that, you shouldn't think that, you shouldn't want that, You shouldn't ask for that. But they're not replacing it with what you should think, want, feel. So my thing is, the first thing when my emotions change is to ask the thing in context. Right?
Right.
If you say something to me and I feel my temperature rising, am I in context for getting pissed off at what this individual said? Right now, my context is determined is what you say gonna change or alter my life in any way whatsoever. Right? I'm not gonna just feed into it because my temperature rises. Right? I gotta analyze what I'm getting into. What's the surrounding? What do the scenery look like? How do I feel about this? This is stuff that I've trained myself to do in a fraction of a second. But it used to start off as 30 seconds, 40 seconds.